Welcome on in, everybody. This is Three Bold Takes. It's Freddie, it's Chase, it's Quinn, and we are continuing our breakdown of positional groups for the NFL draft that is later this week on Thursday, April 25th. That's when it starts. And now we're going to the wide receiver position. Man, this one is a stud group, one of the best we've seen in the last few years, of course. Freddie, talk to me about your number one receiver in this class.
Listen, I think this is by far the easiest decision here, at least in my opinion, and that's Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. He is going to be a day one starter, and he was NFL ready before last year. So that should tell you something. But I'm going to go Marvin Harrison number one.
Yeah, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. at number one. I mean, come on, this feels very similar to when Jamar Chase came out, where there was no question that Jamar Chase was the best receiver in his class. Marvin Harrison's the best receiver in his class, and that's saying a lot because I think 2 through 4 are also very solid. Like they could be your top receiver on your team, guys. But Marvin Harrison for me is like, for a little bit of a spoiler for another video, he's one of only 2 dudes in this whole class that I think there's absolutely no shot he fails. That's how much I think of Marvin Harrison Jr. So he's my number one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Lad McConkey here. I think no, I'm just kidding, guys. Marvin Harrison Jr. is easily the best prospect we've seen in a long time. He kind of gives me the Arizona Cardinals pick of Larry Fitzgerald type build. Like this guy is gonna be a long-lasting, career-impacting type of player. And if this NFL organization doesn't just overvalue the quarterback position, Harrison Jr. should be the first guy off the board over and over and over again. Freddie, you're number 2.
Yeah, this is where I'm sliding in Neighbors out of LSU here. I think he's got a very good ability to change direction and accelerate. And I think that in the NFL, they're gearing more toward a receiver with that skill set rather than the Larry Fitz. Now, he was good at it too, but he was also big, right? You think of the Julio Jones. The big receivers, I think, are slowly fading out in favor for more of that quick, shifty, speedy guy. And Neighbors checks all of those boxes for me more than anybody else, minus, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, for me, at number 2, this is where I'm putting in Rome Odunze. I just really like the work he put in at Washington all year long. And I think him, and who I got at 3 and 4, honestly, I could take and I did sit and slot the 3 of them around, and we'll get to them as I get to them. For me, you could take them in any order of 2, 3, 4, because I think they're all in the same playing field as one another. But I give a slight edge to Rome Odunze.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to put Neighbors here. Neighbors, if you watch the quarterback video, put Daniels down a little bit because of the production he has here. Neighbors is one of those guys. Easily should be a top 5 pick. Neighbors is one of the best separating wide receivers there is. He can go up and grab the ball. He's quick. He's shifty. He does it all. He can do the yard after the catch, everything. So I really like Neighbors, and like Quinn mentioned, this is a guy that can also be your Marvin Harrison Jr. for your team specifically if he gets drafted. He's going to be a number 1 guy wherever he goes. Fred?
Yeah, 3 for me. This is where I have a Dunze out of Washington. To Quinn, I 100% agree. These, 2 through 4, you could really slot any way you want to put it. Right, like I have Odunze 1 spot below Neighbors in the overall board in all of the draft. That's how tight these guys are. If it wouldn't be for Neighbors and Harrison Jr. this year, he would be a clear number 1 wide receiver by far. So that's who I have at my number 3.
Yeah, for me at 3, I have Malik Neighbors. So this is getting real boring of a video. Neighbor, like you already hit it. Change of direction is great for who I have at 3 and who I have at 4. And the reason I put a Doomsday just slightly ahead of them is I viewed them all as equals, and I felt like Rome Odunze had the least amount of talent helping him with his separation during the year. Is like every Batman in a wide receiver room really gets helped out by a great Robin. So if you have a great number two, you as the number one are going to look even better than you already are. And it's unfair for me to hold Neighbors and who I have here at number 4 in a minute back for that. But that is the reason I gave Adunze the slight nod. So I got Neighbors at 3.
And that's actually really respectful, Quinn. I didn't even really assess that. I was thinking more of Adunze. I have Adunze at 3 here, mainly because of the connection of him and Penix. Penix, the better quarterback than Daniels, I think. And I think Penix putting the ball in places that Daniels could never. I think Adunze really benefited from that at points. So I have Adunze here, a big body receiver, a guy that, again, could be your Marvin Harrison Jr. if he's picked. Any of those top 3 I've mentioned could easily be a number 1 wide receiver in different years. So all elite receivers, all going to do really good things day one. So, Freddie?
Yeah, this is where I have A.D. Mitchell from Texas as my number 4 here. He's very fluid for a size, which is pretty rare for somebody that's built like him. He moves well, and I think he could be a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, straight into the NFL. It obviously depends on what team. But yeah, I like A.D. Mitchell here at 4. I think he is by far better than everybody under him. This is where the gap starts to open up for me at receiver for the rest of the list.
Hey, Freddie, who do you think I have at 4?
A.D. Mitchell.
Yeah, it's A.D. Mitchell. You hit it. It's super fluid at his side. I think he has the potential to be an A.J. Green, Julio Jones type guy for his team, because I think really the unfair thing to say about the game style of someone like Julio is it's not just that he was big, it's how well he controlled his body in the air, right? That's what A.D. Mitchell reminds me of, like insane body control and fluidity in his motion. I think A.D. Mitchell is going to dominate in the league. And I feel the same way about everyone who's 1 through 4. And like I said, Marvin Harrison's a step above the other 3, but all 4 of them are going to be, for sure, really good wide receiver talent on whatever team drafts them.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I got A.D. Mitchell here at 4 as well, but like a red zone threat. He's quick underneath. He can literally do it all. This kid's got the speed. He's got the hands. He's got a big body. It's actually uncanny, and it's again could be a number 1 receiver any other year. I think he's a CD Lamb type player. He's going to get picked mid to late first round, and he's going to be an absolute stud for years to come. So number 5, maybe we go off books here, guys. Maybe we actually get something different. Let's see, Fred. You're number 5.
Yeah, my number 5 here is Ladd McConkey from Georgia. Now, there's 3 different reasons. He's very quick, right? He's not fast speed-wise, but he's a very quick, shifty receiver off the line. That's number 1. Number 2, he's a very good blocker on the outside for a receiver compared to a lot of these other guys. And number 3, he's good in the return game as well. One area that is overlooked when discussing receivers being drafted is how do they do special teams wise? Because a lot of these guys may not be picked specifically to be a receiver, but also fill other gaps in other areas. And I think the way he can do all 3 of those things, plus he's a guy, 3rd down, 3rd and short, given the ball on a slant, he will catch it. He just will. He'll put his whole body on it, and he will catch it and bring it down for you for the first down. So Ladd McConkey rounds out my top 5. Quinn?
Yeah, when you talk about Ladd, I think he's clearly the top slot receiver choice in this draft class. I'm interested to see if his return game stuff translates now with the NFL's new return kickoff style, and we'll see if I am interested to see. I think maybe a push towards running backs as return people might be in the future just because of the nature of how kick returns will work now. But for me, my number 5 is Keon Coleman. The reason I go Keon Coleman at number 5, I look around the league. About half the league runs like a West Coast pro style based off the Shanahan system style offense. all of those offenses love having a number 3 dude whose only job is run up the middle of the field, get one-on-one with a safety, and out physical them for a ball. That was Keon Coleman's whole shtick all the way through college, and it was scary. It was scary good. So, like, I think you have a role for him in the league as a guy who you try to get isolated, especially with the league's push to have really good receivers as your number one and your number two. It opens up the skill set of someone like Keon Coleman to really be efficient as long as he's drafted the right team. I think that's the biggest like kicker there. If you draft him trying to be your number one, I don't think he's going to work out. But I think he could be the scariest. Think Mike Williams with the Chargers. It's not like Mike Williams gets a whole lot of touchdowns in a season, but you know what he does do? He does gash you on 2nd and 8 for like a 50-yard bomb because he got isolated with a corner or a safety who could not out jump him for a ball. And I think that's what Keon Coleman will be for whoever takes him.
That's both great picks. I'm going to go with an easy choice for me. And you mentioned Robbins earlier, one of the best Robbins in all of college football, Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU. Had Malik Neighbors easily open him up a lot more. And I think one without the other is not as good as they were for sure at LSU. But I think Brian Thomas Jr., big body guy, he plays a slot really well. He can also play outside. And I think he's going to be a really good number 2 coming into kind of like, man, CD Lamb came in on the back end. It wasn't of Des Bryant's career, was it, Quinn? It was
no, it was Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper.
They came in and then they traded out Cooper to the Browns.
Yeah, I think that's how it's going to be for Brian Thomas Jr. Kind of a CD Lamb type trajectory. My bad. Is like, hey, come in with a really good number 1 wide receiver and then move and escalate into a number 1 type role. I love Thomas Jr. I think he's going to do really well. But guys, I believe that's all for our wide receiver rankings. From 3 bold takes, guys, it's been Quinn, it's been Chase, and it's been Freddie. We love having you. We love that you listen to us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for what